Have you guys noticed the housing crisis is getting so disrespectful nowadays? It doesn't even wait for the mortgage statement to embarrass you. No, sometimes the housing crisis shows up at Walmart. That's how bad it's getting. You're standing there in Walmart holding generic cereal, and suddenly you're realizing, oh, wait a minute, this is not grocery shopping anymore. This is economic hostage negotiation. And then Home Depot, they join in too. Home Depot starts saying people are fixing things instead of replacing them or buying them new, which is such a polite corporate way of saying these people are broke, but they're just trying to be classy about it. And that's what's happening right now. Now, nobody wakes up excited to repair a 23-year-old washing machine. Nobody is standing in their kitchen going, you know what would make this Saturday magical? Keeping this haunted refrigerator alive for just one more season. Nobody wants that life. That is survival behavior. That's what people do when the house already took the first bite out of the paycheck and everything else has to fight for scraps. That's really what this is all about, because we were told the housing problem would show up in obvious ways, like some kind of 2008 crash or something like that. We thought it might even be dramatic. We thought it would be some big moment, some official collapse, some man on television sweating through a tie saying, we're monitoring the situation carefully. But the real housing pressure is a lot quieter than that. It's not always foreclosures first. Sometimes it's just a normal looking family standing in aisle 7 having a spiritual experience over towels. That's the trap. Because once the house is yours, once the rent is yours, or the condo fee is yours, the rest of your life starts negotiating around that number. And that number becomes the main character. You are no longer living in a home. You are living in the shadow of a monthly obligation. And that's the craziest part about how normal it looks from the outside. I mean, you see a nice house, a nice lawn, a nice neighborhood, nice car in the driveway, and you think, wow, these guys, they must be doing great. But meanwhile, inside the house, the family is eating like it's a board meeting. They're arguing over things like who used electricity with confidence this month, or maybe they're arguing about why the thermostat is acting single, or who flushed like we have money. Because that's what happens. A nice neighborhood does not protect you from reoccurring costs. A prettier house just gives the pressure better lighting. That's all it does. And Home Depot is one of the best tells in the country because Home Depot sees people right at the moment when fantasy dies. That's where the dream goes to get patched. You go in there wanting a renovation, you come out with one tube of chalk and YouTube tutorial and a prayer. That's not optimism. That's a hostage video with store credit. And people are putting off remodels. They're delaying upgrades right now. They're repairing appliances instead of replacing them and stretching the life out of everything they already have. And we all know that feeling when an appliance makes a sound it has never made before. And instead of saying we should replace it, you say, let's not overreact. Maybe that's just how it expresses itself. And you start talking about your dishwasher like it's an elderly relative. She's still with us, loud, but with us. And that's because every replacement has to compete with housing right now. The roof has to compete with the mortgage. The fridge has to compete with insurance. The water heater has to compete with taxes. Everything in your life is lined up outside the house like people trying to get into an exclusive nightclub. And housing is the bouncer, like, not tonight, not tonight, definitely not tonight. And that's why I don't hear Home Depot's numbers as retail news. I hear them as a kind of family psychology. I hear the kitchen remodel is not happening because the mortgage already ate the kitchen. I hear we are no longer decorating, we are just stabilizing. And then Walmart comes in with the second part of the story. Because Walmart says the higher income shoppers are often showing up more often. Now that is one of the clearest economic signals in America. Because people love to act like class is permanent. Like once you make a certain amount of money, you have escaped the laws of math. But no, it doesn't work like that. Inflation does not care about your zip code. Reoccurring costs do not pull up to your house and go, oh wow, granite countertops? My apologies. I did not realize you were premium. It doesn't happen that way. They just come right in. And that's what's so deceptive about this market right now. People see property value and assume owner comfort. They think expensive looking house equals relaxed household. But no, sometimes it just means the suffering is happening in better upholstery. That's it. And the taxes, they go up too. The insurance goes up, utilities go up, maintenance goes up, HOA fees rise like they got recruited by a cartel member. And then suddenly the people behind the beautiful front door are in Walmart like everybody else, whispering to themselves in the pasta aisle. Do we really need the name brand, or do we need to stay married? Because that's the squeeze right now. It doesn't always break you dramatically. Sometimes it just makes every choice harder or meaner. And that's how financial pressure works in real life. It rarely arrives wearing boots and carrying a megaphone. Usually it arrives dressed like inconvenience. First you delay the upgrade, then you delay the repair, and then you stop replacing things that technically still function. Then you start shopping based on which aisle hurts your feelings the least. And that's when you realize the original mortgage was not the whole commitment. It was just the front door to the commitment. The house keeps billing you after you move in. And that's what nobody says with enough drama. Because people talk about buying a house like it's one number. But it's never just one number. A house is like getting into a relationship with someone who keeps introducing new cousins. This is property tax. This is insurance. This is maintenance over here. Oh, and did you meet HOA? This is the surprise that a lot of people are facing. And for a while, all these things, they live here now. And HOA fees, they're one of the funniest things in America because they're presented so casually. Oh, it's only just $500 a month. I mean, it's like only $500? That's not just an only, that's another bill with ambition. That is a second payment sitting next to your mortgage like, hey, I heard you were trying to feel stable, but not on my watch. And HOA fees have this special arrogance because you can cut a lot of things in your budget. You can cancel subscriptions, you can eat out less, you can drive less, you can skip vacations, but that HOA fee, that thing shows up every month like a supervillain with meeting minutes.